little early, but we want to open up China. And if we don't open up China, maybe we won't do anything, but we want to open up China. It'll be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
And Seth Soutel has the AP Markets report.
Stocks drifted through a quiet day on Wall Street. The S&P 500 rose 0.1% Monday. The index is 2.3% below the record high it set in February. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was essentially unchanged. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.3%. Warner Brothers Discovery gave up an early gain and closed 3% lower. The company said it's splitting in two to separate its studios from its cable network businesses. Treasury yields slipped in the bond market. The yield on the 10-year Treasury note fell to 4.48%. Seth Soutel, New York.
Thanks, Seth. And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thank you for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Isolated showers possible early tonight and then gradual clearing overnight. A low of 57 degrees with west winds at 10 to 20. Tuesday, sunny with a high temperature of 77 and west winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 88. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms. Cooler with a high temperature of 69 degrees. Friday, chance of storms, highs in the upper 60s. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 72.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000. Which enabled Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I helped Pam purchase her grandmother's home without having to bring a penny to the closing and secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, and joining me in studio is guest co-host Joe Kilgallen. He's a comedian and a friend of mine and a guy from the neighborhood. Hey, Joe.
How are you, Patty?
You know.
You're hydrating.
Thank you. You do listen to the show. I appreciate that. I am hydrating. I offered Joe a hydrating beverage as well. It's water for now. We'll see what happens with the rest. I don't have access to anything else right now. I messaged Joe to confirm our engagement today. Not our engagement, but you know what I mean. Our scheduled. Turn that camera on me. Hi, everybody on Facebook in a moment. We'll get that turned on in just a moment. But I messaged Joe. I said, hey, just want to make sure we're on for tonight. And he said, any specific topics or just the death of America?
Yes.
And I don't know what to say, Joe. You lived in Los Angeles.
I did, yeah.
And I have friends. I messaged my friend last night. I don't want to say any names because also she's an immigrant, right, who came here as a child, and I don't know anybody's status. So I messaged her. I said, how are you doing? And she said, I'm freaking out. I'm under the blankets and I don't want to come out. Are you talking to friends of yours in Los Angeles?
I've talked to a few. Yeah. And a great comedian friend of mine, Megan Gailey, shared a wonderful story. Her husband, CJ Toledano, another wonderful comedian. We're just dropping comedian names early on. They play in a weekly basketball game that I used to play when I lived in L.A. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of comedy writers, comedians, and they're great games. They're competitive. And one of the players there just kind of grabbed his chest and went down.
Oh, my God.
And was having a heart attack. And none of the guys knew how to do CPR, which is like someone should learn. But a nearby person walking by knew CPR. Gave the guy CPR. When the ambulance finally showed up, and not finally, the ambulance did the best it could, but still.
Under the circumstances?
Under the circumstances, it takes time. The medics told the guys, hey, whoever gave him CPR totally saved his life.
Oh, my God.
And they were looking for him, and then they found out he's illegal, so he didn't want any credit for anything. He doesn't want anyone helping him.
This is the thing.
I know. There's some great people out there, and that's the thing that always bothers me when people rage their anti-immigrant bias. If an immigrant commits a crime, all of a sudden it's the worst thing in the world. And of course, I don't want people committing crimes regardless of their status.
Yeah.
But why do you only care when it's an immigrant doing something bad as opposed to an American citizen? I look at them both as terrible things. If someone gets murdered, but we know for fact that this was a nation that became very good, I don't like to use the word they use, because of the melting pot that brought everyone together. I think the most American thing, and I'm going to steal this from a British guy I saw on TikTok because he said it's a very British thing. An American thing is driving your Japanese car to go pick up Chinese takeout, to go, home to sit on your Swedish furniture, drink your Irish whiskey, and then be afraid of foreigners.
Yeah.
Dance
to really good music.
Dance to really good salsa music. You know what I mean? Go to the Mexican place.
Or some, all the things.
All these things sprinkled together to make a great culture, and then there are people out there who are just terrified of it.
Yeah.
We'll come over here legally. Okay, well, you act like that's like an easy process. There's not an Ellis Island on the Rio.
And you act like it's a felony worthy of armed apprehension, kidnapping, disappearing people, showing up in masks. And I've had a problem with this from the very, and not just ICE agents, because what Joe was and I were talking about before the show, are people on my page are like, what about protesters? What about this and that? I mean, but also your own Proud Boys, your all of the the KKK, for instance. I mean, and these are folks who are allegedly working for the federal government, who have the ability to take away your life and liberty.
Yes.
Under the law, right? Under their law now. So, we need to know badge numbers. We need to see. I mean, our CPD doesn't show up without a mask.
Yeah, if the police can do it, why can't ICE agents?
Yeah, I mean, and they're like, what you want? Do you want to be doxxed? We're not talking about sharing anyone's personal information. If you're worried about the fact that someone's face then can be used to identify where they live, well, that's something we gave away under Homeland Security under Bush because of 9/11 and being able that face recognition software. That's because of that.
Patriot Act. Yeah. It's really a joke, and there are people who, like I saw the back and forth you had. And they're always, it's like, you know what they remind me of? The people who are anti-mutant in the X-Men movies. You watch these Marvel X-Men movies, and you're a cold-hearted person if you're like, I like that government official that's trying to get rid of all the mutants. He wants them on a registration list. That's the person I'm rooting for in this flick.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me. By the way, I just had you ever have a moment where you're like, oh, and it comes together? I went to, I'll give the bar a shout out, Galway Bay Pub.
Okay.
It's on 500 West Diversey here in the fine city of Chicago. I went there last night for karaoke with a bunch of comedian friends. They go every Sunday night for karaoke.
I was not aware.
And I don't do karaoke often, especially since I'm sober now. So I'm 98 days sober.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I did the song Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice because it's a go-to.
How did it feel?
It felt good, but I didn't realize now it didn't do well. And I thought I got a little sore throat. But now you realize where I'm going with this now. I think the bar thought I was being...
No! They thought you were some racist Irish guy.
Could be.
Some Chicago schlub who's just like, yeah, how do you like that? Ice. Oh, poor
Because
Joe.
right when I walked off, I remember saying, that song is normally a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Ice Ice Baby.
Wow.
It's like one hit wonder from the 90s.
Well, I guess at Galway, they should expect, Galway, it wouldn't be, if it was like, in Pilsen, you might have had even more of a problem.
Well,
that would be problematic.
A younger crowd.
Shoot, I can't.
They have, a lot of the J1 Irish people were over on the Visa. I saw them conjugating. It's a very diverse bar, actually. They get a great mix of a lot of people. So that's why people were staring at me. I wonder, in my head, I'm like, that normally gets people going.
Do you notice? I was thinking about this when ICE was in. Part of me feels really sad and heartbroken that I am relieved they didn't choose Chicago. There's a relief that they didn't choose, that Trump didn't choose us as the target. I don't know what factors play into the idea that because Newsom is better looking, has more, I don't know, that he's targeting him, that they're already vulnerable after the fires. They have a larger, sort of solidified communities of Latinos, right? We are the second largest Mexican community in the United States, second only only to Los Angeles. And our alders were out there last week standing up to ICE. And I mean, they could have very well have escalated it here as well, because on Thursday, there was not a crisis in Los Angeles. It's only when ICE shows up in their masks, taking people off the streets, from their jobs, from the schools, from the community. Right?
Yeah, and I want to remind a lot of people on the other side with this, because Obama did deport a lot of people, President Obama, under his administration. And the thing was this, though. It was people who were, say, blue or red light, got pulled over and were discovered to be illegal.
Right.
It wasn't squads of people hunting, immigrants down. I think that's what people don't really understand, how that is so fascist. And that's a slippery slope into some dangerous things. And Trump's flirting with, we should arrest Gavin Newsom. He wants to arrest the governor of the biggest economy in our country as a state, the most populated state. And that feels like, okay, well, it's only going to get worse from there. It's only going to get more violent. It's only going to get uglier. And I think you're right. I think he chose L.A. because they're not quite recovered from the recovering from the fires, I should say. Apologies. And also, we both have friends in L.A. It's not a happy city these days. No. Their main industry is not doing well. There's a lot of people who are struggling and out of work. Homelessness has reached new heights. The housing market out there isn't great. There's a housing crisis, really. And like you said before, the infrastructure is not great there.
No.
Whether it's a drought or fires or whatnot. So I almost wonder if psychologically, like you said, that was the chosen target. Where Chicagoans are still kind of happy warriors, even though, it takes us 45 minutes to go 2 miles.
I mean,
this traffic is out of control.
It's insane. I can't with the Kennedy anymore, or a lot of places. What is happening? It's really bad. It's jaw-dropping bad. But maybe that's what also, I mean, the traffic in LA is really bad. I can't, do you see them shutting down highways? And there is a social media influencer that I follow. Her name is Mercedes, and she has her handle is Camp Callout. She's former military. She's former MAGA. So she'll call out people, but she walks through a lot of it. She talks a lot about how the optics are really bad when you have people on the bridges throwing these huge rocks at law enforcement, when you have people, stomping on the flag and spitting on it. And I get that. We can't manage that. Just like we can't, MAGA can't control the KKK and the Proud Boys and all of that. I wish that wasn't part of what people then get excited about, or the instigators that are infiltrating the protesters. We saw that happen in Minnesota with that guy with the mask and the umbrella breaking windows. And we know that in Chicago that happened as well when the police squad car was set on fire by an agitator.
Yes, there are people who like to, whether they're, I don't know, that people thought the guy in Minnesota was undercover.
Right.
I don't want to speculate too much. It did look that way, though. They all seem to wear the same boots. They go to a boot store that has wonderful deals on boots where they could buy them in mass. There's always going to be people who do that, and if you're on the side that's already against it, then you're just going to highlight that.
Right.
I like how these people who could care less about Los Angeles when massive fires were going on, all of a sudden now care about the citizens of L.A. and really want us to send the National Guard. The Marines are going to be arriving any minute now, it sounds like. Yep. And I wonder, there's a lot of Marines who I wonder if they're really going to have a moment where they're thinking, this isn't right. I know I swore to follow my commander-in-chief, but this is wrong.
What the one article I read was that the National Guard does not. They have they're weaponized. They have their artillery, but they don't have. They said they don't have. There's not a bullet in the chamber, but that doesn't mean there aren't bullets in the gun. Right, so they can use their weapons for self-defense. So when does that come into play? Right, there was already yesterday an Australian reporter was hit in the head, was shot at by LAPD with a rubber bullet. They're using rubber bullets with the police department, right? And they're like, oh, it was an accident. And you can see in the footage where he turns, aims, and points at her.
I saw that. That was wild.
Yeah. Like what the? And I'm like, who is the LAPD taking directions from? That hasn't been taken over by the president of the United States. So I'm at what point do you have the police department being turned against the National Guard, who, by the way, the National Guard are not receiving supplies or support. They're like sleeping on the floor of offices because they didn't have military preparedness to be deployed to Los Angeles. So they don't have water, they don't have food, and presumably the Marines are more ready. The Pentagon has announced that up to 700 Marines will be deployed to Los Angeles.
But no food.
Well, for the National Guard, So to your point, I don't know, and I don't know what that looks like. I have a friend who's in the reserves, and I'm wondering how they're feeling about the possibility. My husband was saying that all the governors, all the Democratic governors, should call up their National Guard and send them to California so that to stand in the face of this authoritarianism, like don't come to Illinois to prevent it from spreading throughout the rest of the country.
I would imagine there's going to be a chain reaction of governors making statements like that. Don't come here, just to let people know. But it is wild and also very Trump-like to put forth an action and have no funding for it and not even thinking about funding for it. I'll tell you what, if I was in the National Guard and I'm getting sent to turn on fellow citizens, I would expect them to at least give me some money for an In-N-Out burger.
Right? How are you
we're
not?
in LA.
You and I know there's plenty of inexpensive places like hotels. I mean, not cheap, but I mean,
a Days Inn, perhaps.
I'm saying
there's
right?
a Days Inn on Santa Monica, past Pico, going west. I know, because my father always liked staying at Days Inn.
I used to get a room in Burbank on Olive that was like $40 a night. I mean, it was a while ago. It was like 15 years ago. But still, what is it now, 80? I don't know.
Probably.
Still.
Do you ever notice this? Not to change the subject from the destruction of our country, but why is it that the really nice hotels, they don't give you free breakfast?
Yeah, what is that?
But the hotels,
Intercontinental? Nothing.
But hotels that are supposed to be bad, they give you free breakfast.
And they don't charge you for bottled water. They leave you like a Ice Mountain in the room. Intercontinental, $6 a bottle. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I think these nice hotels are totally overrated.
And I'm just saying, we can afford to put our National Guard up in a Days Inn.
I would agree.
Yeah, with
because then they get
breakfast.
breakfast. See?
Now we're feeding them.
2 problems.
See? Let's open up the phone lines, Paul, and see how folks are feeling. Paul Shivari will be answering the phone, so when you call, be courteous with him, or I won't hear your voice. Or if you are, you know what? If they are rude to you, definitely put them on the air. Joe and I will take care of them. 773-763-9278. That's Credo Mobile phone line. You can also text us to the Credo Mobile text line, 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. More after this with me and guest co-host comedian Joe Kilgallen.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
Still struggling with gas, bloat, constipation, nausea, or diarrhea? Have you tried eliminating foods but felt no change? It's time to call the tummy whisperer, Renee Barish, at Digestive Health Solutions. Renee uses targeted testing to reveal exactly what's happening in your gut. Gut bacteria plays a key role in all your body functions, from cardiovascular regulation to brain function. When the gut is imbalanced, you may experience symptoms that extend beyond the gut, such as anxiety, skin issues, poor sleep, or increased risk for disease. Digestive Health Solution uses advanced testing to identify harmful microbes and evaluate the overall balance of the gut ecosystem. Get insights into your health, digestion, and how your microbiome affects all aspects of your body. Stop suffering. Call Renee now at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That number is 847-207-2034. Let's get you feeling better. The Tummy Whisperer.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
And 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as guest co-host Joe Kilgallen and I continue to drive it home. Hello to our friends listening in Seattle on KKNW 1150, the alternative talk of Seattle. Joining us, of course, here on WCPT 820 in Chicago. You can go to Heartland Signal and tune into our shows and also find all of our podcasts available there. We have interviews that are available that you might want to enjoy, and they're all available as well on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Just search for Driving It Home with me, Patti Vasquez. I mean, don't put with me in the search. I don't know why I have to get silly like that, Joe. Have you always been irreverent? Did you get in trouble in grade school for like seeing the BS and going, I got to say something about this? Like
absolutely.
That's why we're comics.
Yes.
My whole life, I'm like, this is crazy, right? Everyone see how crazy this teacher is. Yeah.
I would always call things out and say it doesn't make sense, and why don't we just do it this way? All the time.
Yeah, and so I got a lot of lax impulse control check marks in school. I don't know if that was something that you guys had on your report cards.
Yeah, we had check marks. I remember getting a lot of them as well. And then my desk was near the teacher's desk for a while.
Yep.
Me and my best friend had to be separated. Me and my buddy Chris Sorensen were in class together in 5th grade, and because we goofed around so much and got in trouble, they made sure that we would not be in the same class for 6th grade. But then we got back together in 7th grade, and then they separated us again in 8th grade, so it was a bummer.
I didn't. My best friend was Susie at Onahan. It was so funny because we became best friends when she got me in trouble. We were in the back of the class, like copying letters or something, and she kept pushing me. And then I made a noise, and I was sent out in the hallway. And then after school, she came up to me, and I was like mad. I remember being 6 years old and mad, like you should have gotten in trouble too, kind of a thing, right? Yeah. She's like, "Can I come over to my house?" And we were best friends ever since. But I was definitely much more of a she was kind of rowdy, but knew how to manage it. Where I did not have that. I didn't have that bone in me. So that's what makes us comics in part.
I would agree on that. And what you said reminds me, I think every human being's first taste of injustice is when one kid starts talking to you. Yeah. And before you even respond, the teacher yells at you for talking. Yeah. And
exactly.
You're like, whoa.
Hey.
This guy started it.
Yeah, that is true. Like my whole body just aches when I see injustice. Not just feel it, but when I see it happening to people. And so I know that people are built differently. Some people are there to inflict the injustice. Our outrage doesn't happen unless people really do horrible things.
True.
And they have to, and I know that they've always existed. And I know we're never going to be rid of horrible people. Like, I mean, that people are no one. People aren't going to outgrow it. There's always been this urge to hurt other people throughout the history of mankind. But you have the ability to learn to do better.
Yes.
It's a choice.
It is a choice, but we get frustrated on our side because part of the frustration of being a progressive is not only are you trying to fight the good fight, but you have to educate the other side.
It's so tiring.
And it's exhausting having to explain things, how to teach them what a false equivalency is. And no, that didn't happen. Why would you think that happened?
What aboutism is fun? Oh, my God.
They don't understand any of that. They don't care. You and I talked about this during the break a little bit. When Fox News modeled their television set after ESPN, they subconsciously or subliminally train their audience into treating politics like sports.
Yes.
I'm on the red team and go red team no matter what. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine called this out a few weeks ago. He had a post that said, it's only a matter of time before Trump supporters turn on their boy Elon and say he can never trust him anyway. Because that's the thing. They're Trump 100%.
Yeah.
I made a post on Facebook, and I'm starting to get a little more political again because, sorry, I'm getting a little long-winded. I realize, I know a lot of my friends out there will say, well, what's the point? You're not going to change anyone's mind. And I used to think, yeah, good point. But now I'm under the mindset of I'm going to speak up because, if anything, I'm going to motivate my own side to speak up even more. So that's why it's still a good thing to speak out and to speak up whenever you get a chance. Yeah. You're not going to change your neighbor down the street's mind who, can't match his socks. But for the most part, you're at least going to, rally the troops around you who want to fight for the injustice that you want to fight for. I had a post that basically said, all right, if Trump is on this list, the Epstein list, and Elon made it seem like, because that's what Elon's post was, right?
Right.
Why were you still working with him, Elon?
Yeah, you wanted to elect a pedophile. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You were all in on that last year. Because you wanted your contracts to go through, you wanted the investigations dropped against your companies. Come on now.
So you don't care if someone's a pedophile,
right?
You'll go get a pedophile elected to the highest office in the land. But then people were commenting underneath there. Republicans were like, typical Democrat believing in this.
Yeah, I saw that on your...
Yeah. Like, what do you mean believing? I'm literally quoting your guy. And I didn't even bring up Trump. I brought up Elon. That was an insult towards Elon. I'm like, why would you, like, if I knew someone was this, I wouldn't work with them anymore.
No.
But Elon did.
Bonkers.
And yet you saw the comments. They're crazy, these people.
Well, and how much do you think what's happening in Los Angeles is related to the distraction, the fact that we were making fun of Elon and Donald last Wednesday and Thursday, whatever days that sort of unraveled, right? That happened. And then Kilmar Abrego Garcia all of a sudden is coming back to the United States with charges that we never heard about out of Tennessee that had nothing to do with what they originally said that they deported him and had him arrested and sent to a gulag for.
It's all related. It all goes back to the flood the zone theory.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's so
flooded.
It is very flooded.
It's very soggy. Let's see what Roosevelt has to say. Roosevelt beat Jim to the phone call today. Roosevelt, what's on your mind? You're on with me and Joe Kilgallen tonight.
Thank you for taking my call. How you guys doing? Hey,
well,
listen. You were right in the middle of saying the number of your phone when I started dialing, so I caught you right before you finished. That's why I beat Jim.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice
So
job.
here's my theory. See what you guys think. What one of you had said this. I think it was Joan. This is a revenge thing that's going on. Let me tell you why. First, you got the Proud Boys suing our government. Okay. Second of all, to do the revenge, there's a rumor, this is what I've been listening to mostly all morning, the Spanish stations on the radio, on TV. So there's a rumor that they're taking pictures of the arms of the people that were here in Chicago, ICE, and some of those guys that didn't have a uniform and all that. And the rumor is that some of these guys were at the Capitol on January 6th.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that whether or not that, and I would be interested to see like how if they did connect with January 6th people who were pardoned, and again, this is that whole, you'll get a bonus for the certain number of people who are deported or detained or whatever, and they're all LARPing as law enforcement, like how much training, and there's no accountability to this because they have all the branches of the government, all of it.
And to add to it, if it is true, who's going to be the reporter or the radio station that's going to report this? This is my point. You got Terry Moran that's been suspended.
Well, that's a different story. Hey, you know what? I've got 5 seconds. I got to get to the break. So hold on. I do want to, since you brought that up, I want to talk about when we come back. We're on with Joe Kilgallen, and we're taking your calls at 773-763-9278. Let's take a break here and come back in just a moment on WCPT and 1150 KKNW.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Isolated showers possible early tonight and then gradual clearing overnight. A low of 57 degrees with west winds at 10 to 20. Tuesday, sunny with a high temperature of 77 and west winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 88. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms. Cooler with a high temperature of 69 degrees. Friday, chance of storms, highs in the upper 60s. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 71.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
I have officially been behind the microphone for 6 years here at WCPT, and I really want to thank you. It has been a new lease on life. Parts of my brain that were asleep woke up again to talk politics with you.
Joan Esposito, weekday afternoons 2 to 5 on WCPT 820.
Progressive knows road trips without your pet can be tough.
Hi, this is Next Stop Dog Boarding.
Hi, it's Scott again. How's Squeaks doing? You can tell if he's stressed by his eyebrows. Oh, and his breathing should sound like this.
Scott, Squeaks is exactly the same as last time you called.
Okay, let's talk in 20 to see if anything's changed.
With Progressive, your pet is covered up to $1,000 in vet bills in case of a car accident. So next time, you can take your pet with you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
I love Dan Levy, but one of the problems with that rejoiner, my hello, if I do it, then it's like hello, like 4 times then.
Too many hellos.
Too many hellos. That's Joe Kilgallen. Hello, Joe. Where are you performing soon? What's your next gig?
This weekend, Friday and Saturday, I will be at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook, the Bolingbrook Promenade, the mall there.
It's such a California-looking mall, isn't it?
It really is.
It's cool. I like it.
I dig it, too.
Yeah, and the room is awesome. So
very good room. So the shows are both 8 p.m. Friday, Saturday night. So if you're in the area, come on out. Western, southwest suburbs.
It's a great room, and Joe is just one of the best comics in the Chicagoland area and beyond. So go see his show. That's CG's this weekend in Bolingbrook, and enjoy that show. Let's get to Roosevelt was talking about. Now I forgot what Roosevelt was saying, but I wanted to talk more about. Oh, Tracy Morin from Terry Morin. What's on your phone? Are we being? Is it the government? What is that, Roosevelt?
Hello?
Yeah, there's some weird feedback on your phone. Is the government listening in?
No.
Are you on speakerphone?
No.
Okay.
No, I got my headphones on.
Oh, gotcha.
These are really bad headphones, by the way. So.
Well, by all means, call into a radio show where the only thing I rely on is how the audio quality is. But go ahead.
Okay, so does this sound familiar? I'll be your justice. I'll be your retribution. He said that at the CPAC.
Right.
So my theory is this. He's doing this. I'm not saying it's the only reason. That's one of them. But look at everything that's happening in regards to the press. Caroline Levitt just got into it, basically saying that the BBC is not reporting the truth, that basically they're lying. The reporter that got hit in the leg, Australian reporter. So they're next, meaning they're going to be pushing back on foreign press because they're the only ones that we're going to rely on because as far as I'm concerned, we're done with the American press. I don't think they're going to stick their neck out like they have with all the stuff going and all the millions of dollars that ABC and CBS and people high on CBS that have quit or going to get ready to be or not waiting to be fired. All the stuff that's happening is the press that dictators hit first. And that's where I'm heading to. In El Salvador, they just arrested a second person that is a defender of human rights. First there was Ruth Lopez. Now there's a gentleman, his last name is Enrique Ayala. So it's happening all over. It's happening in El Salvador. It's happening here. And when it comes down to the gentleman that was sent to El Salvador, they have to make up trumped up charges. You know, who arrests somebody with no charges, sends them to El Salvador, but now that you're bringing them back after you had Bukele in the White House, and both Bukele and Trump said they couldn't do nothing about it.
Exactly.
So all this is, I mean, it's all over the place. And in '69, when we were kids, it was the Beatles saying "Helter Skelter." This is Helter Skelter to me. Everything is being hit at once. Yesterday, the other day when I seen L.A., it looked like a foreign land. It looked like a banana republic.
Parts of it. 80s. And this is important, too. You're only being shown parts of it. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, the agitators who are throwing rocks and big rocks, like bricks and stuff. And then there are peaceful protests throughout the city standing up for the undocumented. Thank you so much for someone who messaged that. Sometimes I do slip into using the language because I hear it so much, saying illegal or whatever. So undocumented migrants. Go ahead. Yes, Roosevelt.
And Patty, to this regard, we got to stop letting people on the station, and on your show this happened too. I told Joan, we got to continue to say that the people that come here without papers are not breaking the law. It's a civil
violation. Yep.
Violation. And it was said again today, but none other than Sunny Hoskins. She's a lawyer. She's a minority. She should know. She's Haitian, and she's married to a Haitian, and she's Puerto Rican and black. So you have a gentleman that calls in. Otherwise, he's very intelligent, and I agree with him 90% of the time. But he keeps on saying this thing: my people came here the right way, and he's a Democrat. Yeah. And you know who I'm referring to, and he's wrong. He's totally wrong.
Yeah, I get
he's biting on this. And most of the white people, and let me close it with this, believe that it's a crime, and it's not a crime.
It's a misdemeanor, right? It's not a felony. Yep.
Yeah. So
thank you, Roosevelt. I agree.
That's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're getting martial law declared for. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it's crazy. You know, I was sorry I did a hand gesture, but I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh, you can raise your hand. Do you react?
I know, but I wasn't. That's what I'm telling you. This is great radio right now. Yeah, I was just gesturing like it's unbelievable.
Well, and we talked about this earlier. Sometimes Joe and I will talk, and I don't know if it's on the air or not. If there's more swearing, it was probably off the air from me. But is the idea that they're going after folks they're not going to Oklahoma, they're not going to Kentucky, where they have people that are working on farms, they have people working on construction sites. I mean, there are some places like Florida where this site manager said, "Hey, I voted for Trump, but I thought he was going to go after criminals, not my hard workers who are undocumented." Well, dude, you're the one that should be arrested for having undocumented workers on your site because legally you're supposed to go through the process. You're not doing it the right way. All these business owners who are not doing it the right way.
They'll never go after them.
I know.
They should.
But even the Democrats should have. You know what I'm saying? Like this.
I mean, the Democrats as a party have been very awful. Okay? They do just enough to please the right people.
Get the money.
And to get the money. And it's really annoying that we have a two-party system in this country because when you do that, neither is going to be really totally held accountable. And if I could address what Roosevelt said, a caller said about how, well, my ancestors or my family came here the right way. The number of times I hear that and I ask them, how'd they come over? And they go, well, they don't know the answer. They just assume. You don't know if they came here the right way.
Right.
And also, it was a lot easier back then. I found the naturalization record of my great-grandfather, who actually was technically a criminal in Ireland. He was in the IRA, which would have been seen as that. I didn't see it as that, of course. I think they're freedom fighters in my book. And so that might get me in trouble with a few friends. But all you had to do then was when you came over was get a couple sponsors.
Yeah.
And no shock that the sponsors also had Irish last names. So you come over here, you get a couple other people, fellow countrymen who are already citizens, to sign some stuff for you, and then you were in. It wasn't like this grueling process that it sounds like today.
Oh, we've had our friend Adam Burke talks about how hard it was for him to become a citizen of the United States from Ireland.
Yeah.
In the last few years. It wasn't until 1917, which was the legislation, because before that was pretty much an open policy. To your point, having a sponsor, people were invited. They needed workers. They needed bodies, right? So it wasn't until 1917. It was mostly to restrict people from Asia that they started having the Immigration Acts. They had the Emergency Quota Act, only a certain number of people, and then the Immigration Act of 1924, again, with the established national origins quotas from around the world, including Western and Northern Europe, significantly restricting people from Asia and South or Eastern Europe. So it was always sort of selective as to like, well, we just don't want more Asian people here. And things, yeah. So it's at any rate. And my mom came here she came here on a visa in 1968, and she'll tell you like they wanted Mexicans here. The reason we have the second largest Mexican population in the United States is they wanted more workers here, starting with the stockyards, the meat packing yards, all the you needed bodies in order to generate that wealth. That's why we talk about how billionaires don't earn $1 billion. They take $1 billion from the blood, sweat, and tears of labor.
Yeah, they exploit it.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible. You can't name a billionaire. I was talking about this with some friends. You'd be hard-pressed to find a billionaire who didn't exploit workers to get that billion.
Yeah.
Very hard-pressed. I'm thinking someone thought maybe Paul McCartney, and I go, but this wouldn't be Paul McCartney's fault, but I'm sure the people who were making a lot of the CDs and the records were probably getting underpaid. You know, people doing like that kind of thing. Like Michael Jordan. I love Michael Jordan. He's a billionaire. It's child labor making those shoes. That's exploitation.
Right.
You know, so it's you do take $1 billion, you don't make it.
By the way, thank you for the clarification, Myrna, that being here undocumented is neither a felony nor a misdemeanor, as I said. It's a civil matter, as we both, I think Joe is also pointing out as well. So thank you for the clarification, because, again, we don't have a script.
So basically,
I can only Google so quickly.
Yeah, exactly, everyone.
Yes.
So if you are caught as an illegal, we don't want to use undocumented immigrant, they just hit you with a violation? Is it like a fine? But they still give you you're going to go back over here.
Well, that's the thing. I was researching today because somebody, what's due process for an immigrant? You still get your day in court in order for the judge to review the evidence as to your legal status and ability to stay here. That was a problem with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Fine. The charges then, what were the charges? And even the White House personnel had said he was not supposed to be deported because a judge had given him special, not even immunity, but protections to be able to stay in the United States in 2019. It was determined that he could stay here because he was afraid for his life because his family had been threatened by gang members in his home country. So, at any rate.
And so now they're upset about the PR from their mistake, which is really what it is. And I would like to dig deeper. Maybe one of our callers could look this up. Where is the prison industrial complex in all of this? Where are these private prisons who I'm sure donated heavily to the Trump campaign? I want to know how well they're doing with all of this.
You make a good point, because I believe in Glendale, California, they've ended their contract with ICE in order to house detainees. So, which was interesting. I don't know if because that would be a public funding for that detention center. I guess that's why they decided to suspend that. We're in the studio with guest co-host Joe Kilgallen. He'll be appearing this weekend at CG's in Bolingbrook. It's that Promenade Mall. It's pretty cool over by there. Do you know who else is on the show? I'll take a look. You don't have to be responsible for that. I always feel bad because I don't always know who I'm working with either. So it's a great venue. It's a really intimate club. I'll never understand how it only operates on 2 shows a week. I've always been fascinated by it.
I'm not sure either.
I wish I could. This is fascinating. All right, we're going to take a break in a moment, and we're going to talk to our friends from the Woodstock Pride event coming up. I don't know what. I'm honored and a little bit embarrassed to be the Grand Marshal of the Woodstock Pride Parade this Sunday. So, but I'm excited and honored. Thank you very much for that. So let's find out more about that. I know we have a question from a listener about the route, so we'll talk to our friend Melissa McMahon about the event and come back and continue our conversation. If you're on hold, I will get to your calls, I promise. You might be on hold for just a little bit after our conversation, maybe after the news. So if you want to take a chance to call back after 6, we will definitely get to your calls. And then, I should mention this. Paul, I don't know if you saw the schedule. Do you have the updated one? Actor Michael Rooker will be joining us at 6:30, which it's weird for me to say. This gives you a chance to go Google who's Michael Rooker, and you'll be like, oh my God, I know that guy. I love that you pulled up, you said Mississippi Burning and JFK, and I'm like, yeah, those also, because he's like in Marvel movies. He's on TV. He's everywhere. He was on Walking Dead. Tons of stuff.
He's had an amazing career.
Oh my God.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Marvel.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he's great. Yeah,
just saying. So he'll be coming up at 6:30. He's in South Korea filming right now, and very excited to talk to us. I don't know why, but he said yes. Let's take a break here and talk about Pride this weekend on WCPT 820 and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. We're also glad that you're here.
Excuse me, miss. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you recommend a bank that offers a full suite of commercial banking products along with excellent service?
Yes, ABOC.
What about a bank that has been in Chicago for more than 100 years and really understands the local business climate?
ABOC.
But I manage a labor union. Can you recommend a bank that really understands how labor unions operate and what banking products they need?
Again, ABOC. ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922 and understands the local business climate better than anyone. ABOC was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders today. So they really understand how unions tick and how their needs may be different. But whether you're with a labor union or another type of business, whether you're large or small or something in between, ABOC will always make you feel like you're their most important customer. Visit ABOC.com to learn more.
Wow, thank you, random person on the street. I'm going to visit ABOC.com today.
Member FDIC. WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Joining me in studio is comedian and guest co-host Joe Kilgallen. He is appearing at the CG's Comedy Club this weekend in Bolingbrook. It's over by there. You can find them on Facebook or online and order your tickets. It's a great show. It's a wonderful venue, and you'll love seeing Joe at saying all the things. He's got a lot of rage, but it comes from a place of love and kindness.
I believe it does.
I believe it does, too. I have a lot of love and rage, but I want to show some love this weekend with our friends at the Woodstock Pridefest. And joining us as the coordinator for the Woodstock Pridefest is Melissa McMahon. Hey, Melissa, thank you so much, first of all, for the honor of being your celebrity marshal. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I don't have rage. I have made it home already. So no more driving in the rage.
No more driving in the rage.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and thank you for coming out and being one of our grand marshals. We have a wonderful hometown hero grand marshal and our celebrity one. You are an ally with a voice that needs to be heard, and you're helping us spread the word. So that is what we love.
I've been to several already. I'm so excited. And then I'm actually going to New Orleans for some of their Pride events because I have friends that live down there.
Yeah,
so I'm super excited about that. And so tell us a little bit about the festivities coming up this weekend.
Yeah, so we are actually in our 7th year, and we just keep growing and growing. So we actually kick off the weekend with actually a somber note, with Voices Remembered. It was just a viewing and reception for the AIDS Memorial Quilt. This is the first time that quilt has been in McHenry County. And so we're really honored to be able to do that. It'll be on display all weekend, and then all of the crazy fun and color will kick off on Saturday morning with a color fest. Figure all those colors flying at you through the air and stuff like that. And then we have a adult-only pub crawl Saturday night, so that is always a good time.
I feel like I'm staying all day. I feel like I'm going to stay all day.
Can we get Patti a hotel?
Saturday. Yeah, maybe I'll stay at the Cherry Blossom. I stayed at the Cherry Blossom a few times. It's where they shot Groundhog Day. That's where...
the Cherry Tree Inn.
Cherry Tree Inn, that's right.
The Seattle, Minneapolis listeners would like to know that Woodstock, Illinois takes place in the movie Groundhog's Day, whatever that Pennsylvania town?
Puxatawny, Phil.
Puxatawny, yeah. Great movie, and the town square in Woodstock looks awesome in that movie.
And you can say the Cherry Tree Inn. They have copies of the movie in the rooms with a DVD player. It's fun. And the food there is amazing. The owners are so glorious. So I don't know if they'll have rooms left. I bet they're all booked already. But I'll figure something out. I'll get home safely. You know why? Because Metra folks who want to come join me in Woodstock is the way to really fly. Drops you off a block from everything, right, Melissa?
Not even a block, not even half a block.
Yes.
You will see all the colors coming up, and then the train station is half a block, if that, from the town square that you will recognize from the movie, and that is where our festivities kick off on Sunday morning.
That's wonderful. And then a listener messaged in about the route. So tell us a little bit about the route, because they said a few years ago, a friend and I had a car in the parade. Please ask your guests to describe the parade route. It was unique, and as participants, it couldn't have been any more entertaining for us.
Oh, that is a total compliment. I love that. So we actually extended our route from a few years ago because we have so many people and so many floats, which is a wonderful thing to have happen. So it starts at Dean Street Elementary School on Dean Street. It will come down that residential street into the town square. It will circle the town square, go out West Jackson, and then go back on Tryon, and you'll end up right back at that school where we started from. So we've extended it into the neighborhood a little bit, and then that town square will have thousands upon thousands of happy, smiling people.
And for folks who are coming out, let them know, not just, we talked a little bit about the pub crawl. Here, the AIDS quilt. I have to say, first of all, as a child of the 80s, it leaves a mark in a different way because I didn't understand what was happening. And for kids like me, part of the eyes in, I guess, was Ryan White. And sort of, and I believe Cher actually had, and Michael Jackson had taken him under their wing, wanted to make sure that people knew. It's sort of for people who didn't understand, especially for me, the gay community and what they were experiencing. I've talked to now survivors, people who've lost loved ones since the 80s, from basically this moment in our history that we still have to reconcile with. And like even Dr. Fauci, who has talked about how he made the wrong choices and has addressed it. I think it's remarkable that you have the quilt. Tell us a little bit about bringing that to Woodstock.
Yeah, so like you, child of the 80s, I first experienced the quilt in high school. And our school had brought in a panel, mid-90s, and so it really had an impact on me then. My mom worked in healthcare, and she was a hero. She was taking care of everybody. So like you, Ryan White and Arthur Ashe, Magic Johnson, all of the celebrities, and then you realize there's real people there too. So it was important to me to bring out the quilt and kind of help, especially in this tumultuous time that we're in, understand the fight that was fought before us and know that it's not over. And then looking back, now we're at the 6th anniversary of COVID, and I was at an event yesterday, and the speaker said, this is the second epidemic that I've lived through. I lived through AIDS in the 80s. And that just hit me as like, wow, it's like, a lot of people, COVID was the first thing, and it really isn't. It's not even a full lifetime ago that AIDS was the epidemic that it was. And there's so much new information, so many wonderful medical steps that people can take now. But you need to know your status. You need to know what you're up against and how to be a better human in the world. So we're really honored to bring the quilt out and tell the stories of the people on it. And we're hoping it's going to be both an educational and an uplifting event to have that here.
Tell us a little bit about the sponsors, too, because we're seeing so much change when it comes to businesses that get involved in events like this. And so now, this year in particular, I want folks to know who is standing with as allies and supporting events like this.
Yes. Well, here in Woodstock, we have always been very grassroots. We are, the all-American town that you see in the Groundhog Day movie. So we have a couple of corporate sponsors, but we really have a lot of mom-and-pop shops that have stepped up year after year and are helping us make this happen. But companies like Terabis, which is a dispensary, Paylocity, State Farm, some big names like that, but a lot of our local businesses like Read Between the Lines, which is an independent bookshop here in Woodstock, and, Next Level Counseling, Lodestone Behavior. These are local people, own the business, live and work here in Woodstock, and they're like, this is important. So it's really, it's quite humbling to have that support where we live, where we need it.
I agree. And tell us a little bit more about, I know you told us about what's going on Saturday. What can people expect as they arrive both Saturday and Sunday for some of the vendors, the folks that are, again, I know that there'll be a lot of tents. Joe, some of the swag at these Pride events, I mean, this is the best swag I've ever seen. Just saying. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Of all the fests, there's the best swag. I would like to, I just got a trans support shirt.
Nice.
It's like the Chicago flag though. So it's like pink and then the blue color. It's from Rep Shy, which is a really great store in this neighborhood. So yeah, let's hear about the swag, Melissa. And by the way, Melissa, you said you were a child of the 80s. You sound like you're 28. Did you not? Don't you agree, Patty?
I agree. I definitely agree.
Okay.
Oh, flattery will get you far. Thank you.
I'm trying to become the marshal for next year, 2026.
I like it. Well, look at this.
Nice. Well, that is definitely a tick in the column for you. So we will have swag for our pub crawlers. We are going to light up the night, and I don't want to give it away, but people who get their pub crawl tickets will have some real fun that night. And then our square that you've seen in the movie, like we talked about, is surrounded with our sponsors, with nonprofits, with vendors, and everything in between. I mean, there's going to be food trucks, there's going to be nonprofits giving away good swag, there's our sponsors, and then there's vendors who have created and made because they're all local, they're all homemade, handmade kind of stuff. So much fun jewelry. Like in every Pride flag possible, you're going to find fun jewelry and just T-shirts, cups, all that kind of stuff, but a lot of unique stuff that I can't wait for people to see on Sunday.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I've geared up this year. It's a lot of fun. What else do you want to make sure folks know about about Pride Fest this weekend in Woodstock?
That you can find a whole slew of information at woodstockilpride.com. And really, that's just one of the events we do. Woodstock Pride is an organization that we work year-round to make sure that people are seen and celebrated, and we're branching out into more educational materials and stuff. So we're really proud of the community that we live in and the people in it.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to see you all this weekend. Again, Woodstock Pride Fest. Folks, come on out and enjoy a beautiful time in community. And I love Woodstock. I'm a huge fan. Like, if I was to move outside of Chicago, Woodstock is at the top of my list, by the way.
That would be awesome.
I want to live in Groundhog's Day forever.
Yes.
Just saying. Plus, you have a Metro stop.
We do have a Metro stop. We do. And we celebrate groundhogs every year, too. So it's a good time to come out.
Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, before we go, let folks know about the organizations that if they can't come to Pride Fest this weekend, but how they can get involved throughout the year and be a part of the programs you have.
Yeah, so again, you can check out our website. We've got information about this weekend and all the other information, like programs that we do. We also have links for resources if people need it for this county, and that's woodstockilpride.com. And you can always follow us on social. We're a lot faster on that one. So we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're doing all the things.
Outstanding. Well, go get some rest. Pace yourself, because I know this is a long, it's a long sprint, which is exhausting. So take care of yourself, and I know it's going to be a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break here. I've gotten a text and a phone call from Michael Rooker while we were on the air. He's like, I'm ready. And I'm like, because I know he's in South Korea, so maybe like doing the time change thing. So I don't know. We might be taking him at 6 o'clock, but I'll try to get to all of our phone calls when we come back. We're in studio with comedian Joe Kilgallen. He'll be at CG's Comedy Club this weekend. Where can people find you on the socials? Because your YouTube, your podcast, all the things.
Yes, YouTube is just youtube.com/Joe Kilgallen. It's Kilgallen, K-I-L. Gallon, Gallon, and that's basically my name on everything. Instagram, TikTok, you have to write Joe Kilgallen Comedy, but those are basically the main three I play with: Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Excellent. We'll be back with possibly Michael Rooker right away. I don't know. I want to get to our phone calls too, but if Michael's ready to go, how do you make? I'm just saying more to this.
You can't say no to Michael.
I'm kind of afraid to, because if you've seen some of the characters he's played, more to this.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find an amazing candidate fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Immigration protests in Los Angeles again today, despite President Trump's deployment of the National Guard.
Thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped, and a lot of problems they were having out there.
3 U.S. officials tell AP the Pentagon plans to send about 700 Marines to L.A. California is suing to stop the deployments. Attorney General Rob Bonta.
With this order, Trump and Hegseth ignored law enforcement's expertise and guidance and trampled over our state's, California's, sovereignty.
Meantime, Lisa Dwyer reports union leader David Huerta has been released from federal custody on a $50,000 bond.
Huerta was arrested while protesting Friday. He was charged with conspiring to impede an officer during a demonstration. Huerta is the president of the Service Employees International Union California, which represents thousands of janitors, security officers, and other workers. Before his release, the SEIU held a large rally in downtown Los Angeles in support of Huerta. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has removed every member of the scientific committee that advises the CDC on vaccine use. He says they had too many conflicts of interest and is pledging to replace them with his own picks. National Institutes of Health scientists have published a letter criticizing Trump administration cuts to public health research. Jenna Norton is one of the signees.
The NIH that I am working in now is unrecognizable to me. Every day I go into the office and I wonder what ethical boundary I'm going to be asked to violate, what probably illegal action am I going to be asked to take. And it's just soul-crushing. And that's one of the reasons that I'm signing this letter.
NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya says the letter reflects fundamental misconceptions about policy directions. More U.S.-China trade talks underway in London. In quiet trading on Wall Street, the S&P rose 0.1%. This is AP News. Tennis's newest rivalry coming into its own at the French Open in Paris Sunday. Gethin Kulba has a recap.
Carlos Alcaraz took the path of most resistance to successfully defending his French Open title.
The match had everything.
The Spaniard rallied from 2 sets down and saved 3 match points to beat Jannik Sinner 4-6, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-6 for his 5th major title in as many finals.
Really good moments, really bad moments. Just really happy and proud.
It was his 2nd straight French Open title with a comeback after trailing 2-1 in sets to Alexander Zverev in last year's final.
This one was the most exciting match that I've played so far.
3-time major winner Sinner suffered his first loss in a Grand Slam final.
It's a very high level match, that's for sure, so I'm happy to be part of this.
The final was also the longest in French Open history at 5 hours, 29 minutes. I'm Gethin Kulba.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Isolated showers possible early tonight and then gradual clearing overnight. A low of 57 degrees with west winds at 10 to 20. Tuesday, sunny with a high temperature of 77 and west winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 88. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms. Cooler with a high temperature of 69 degrees. Friday, chance of storms, highs in the upper 60s. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 71.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the midst of World War II, the 200 and 515th Coast Artillery Companies from New Mexico stood resolute against overwhelming odds. Composed largely of Hispanic soldiers, these brave men were stationed in the Philippines, where they faced the brutal onslaught of Japanese forces. Despite their lack of supplies, American and Filipino forces managed to fight the Japanese for 3 months. However, this was not a victory for the American and Filipino forces. As the American Army surrendered in Bataan, the U.S. and Filipino prisoners of war were forced into the infamous Bataan Death March. A grueling 65-mile forced trek under the scorching sun, marked by extreme deprivation and harsh treatment. Sadly, 829 men were never able to return home. New Mexico's Veterans of the Bataan Death March are honored each spring with the annual White Sands Bataan Death March Marathon. People from all around the world join together in the desert at the White Sands to participate in the anniversary of one of the most tragic casualties of World War II. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, in studio with guest co-host and comedian Joe Kilgallen. Joe, we have a little bit of a situation. First, I want to say hi to our friends again listening Seattle and Minneapolis and here in Chicago. Michael Rooker is scheduled to be on the show at 6:30. However, he's been calling me a couple times and said, hey, I'm ready. And I'm like, it's not 6:30 yet, which of course I would take his call. But I have to, now he's not responding back, so I'm a little bit nervous. I hope he's not mad at us. Or we'll find out.
I hope not either, but to our lovely callers who are waiting on hold, we apologize for the delay.
Yes.
But Michael Rooker was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he made me cry. That's how good an actor he is. I cried in Guardians of the Galaxy, too. So we're going to get bumped for Michael Rooker. That's going to happen.
You might.
Well,
right now we're taking our call. We can go ahead and start calling. Let's see if we get him. We've got Jim on the line. Jim, how are you doing today, my friend? Are you
Hi, Joe. Yeah, hi, Joe. You mentioned the Irish Republican Army. Very dear to my heart. Think of the centuries that they had martyrs for autonomy and freedom. Just think of how they had to fight for their freedom.
Yeah, 800 years.
Yeah, not getting until 1918. But it was through brilliance, through absolute brilliance. That campaign was studied by everybody on earth. They'd love to get that campaign down. But I wish I never thought I'd say this, but I wish I was in Los Angeles. I was happy to flee the city a couple of times, but I wish I was there today, because I think that this demonstration is going to be heard around the world. I've already seen on BBC they put that high priestess of Trumpdom, Bannon, on the air. The guy that stole $200,000 from the wall. But apparently these people don't go to prison. I guess the prisons are built for people that are out of power. That's what's happening here. Anyway, he goes into some type. I couldn't even listen to him. I can't listen. I can't even look at the guy. But anyway, he said, I just saw the caption underneath: invasion. That's been their battle cry since Trump took office. It's an invasion. An invasion of what? An invasion of these people. It's an invasion of these lunatics like Trump and the Republican Party. That's their mask. That's the real invasion. But the point is, Patty, I wish it was in Chicago, but I hope this virus takes all over the world.
Yeah.
No, but think of it. I do. Because I would be there every day. The only thing is, I have one good eye. That if they shot me with the rubber bullet in the other eye, then I would have a bad day. That would be a real bad day, because you know what I mean. That's my last leg anyway. But the point is, the Supreme Court is going to take this up, because I imagine Steve Miller and the Republican strategists are thinking, well, if we have enough big enough show of dissent, I can call in. I can suspend the midterms and stay in power and not sweat it. And I choose the Supreme Court to go along with it. That's the sad part about it.
Well, that would be truly terrifying if that went along, suspending any kind of election.
I know, but I mean, let it go. But here, my point is this, Joe: let it go. Let it go that way. I don't care, because this is so perverted. This government we have in the United States is so perverted that it's got to see the light of day. It's like an infection or cockroaches or something. Like, you've got to get at the problem. So let them go as berserk as they want to. And I'm all for it, because
it could be a start of a revolution.
No, but that's all right. But people will want freedom, Joe. Everybody wants freedom.
Yeah,
I agree.
Everybody wants freedom. I want my freedom, and I'm not going to let these morons besmirch my freedom for 10 minutes. I don't care what they shoot at me or how they shoot at me. It doesn't matter to me. Because if that psycho is or that psycho, then let them go to it. Because this man's a psycho. Did they shoot anybody at the insurrection when they rushed the Capitol? I didn't see any bullets flying at those people.
No,
I didn't see bullets flying at them. I mean, come on. What are we? But not only that, but think about what he says. He said that he won an election that he lost. Who could believe that? Nobody would believe that. I mean, we're in a terrible strait here in America, and they're the culprits. They're the culprits. Anyway, Joe, Patty, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Thanks, Jim. We appreciate it. Let me get to, we're trying Michael Rooker again, and we are going to get to Victor in Oregon, who's been on hold for a while. He called back. Thank you for calling back, Victor. I appreciate it. What's on your mind?
Okay. Hey, Patti Vasquez.
You are the social media maven and the comedy queen extraordinaire, and all the people that are doing comedy now are first line rescue squad that we need so desperately.
Oh boy!
But the reason I called is, this country is great and has been for the last 250 years, and the reason why we are such a great country is because of our Constitution and all the rights that are granted to every single individual in America, citizen or not. And I would like to say that the reason why the economy is so great in the United States is because when we first started, this country was built on the back of African Americans that did all the hard work and heavy lifting. And California would not be the fourth largest economy in the world if it wasn't for the Hispanic population that worked so hard in the fields and in the industries and construction in California.
Well,
without Hispanic, Mexicans, and
Well, and those businesses couldn't thrive without the hard labor of immigrants. Victor, I'm so sorry because I know you were on hold for a while. I have a guest on the line that's on.
Well, go for it, honey.
From
Take
South
care.
Korea. Yeah, thank you so much, Victor. I appreciate it. Ciao. By the way, so we're going to switch gears, everybody. I'm going to get really excited because it's been years since I've had the pleasure of talking to our next guest who joins us all the way from South Korea. Michael Rooker joins us. You're on the line with my guest co-host, comedian Joe Kilgallen. Thank you, Michael, for joining us today. First of all, what time is it in South Korea?
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. South Korea. Let's see. What time is it here? Let's see. God, what time is it? I don't know. It's like it's just in the morning time.
Is it just morning or night? That's probably the part I need more. So
it's morning.
You've gone from South Carolina filming Righteous Gemstones, right, for the last season, and then back to Atlanta to do Peacemaker, which I'm so excited that you're in the next season, and now you're in South Korea wrapping up a filming on what's this film that you're working on right now?
It's called Pig Village.
Ooh.
Pig Village. Pig Village. Pig Village is the name of like little small podunk towns or establishments somewhere out in the country. That's what they call those tiny little towns and places like that. They call them pig villages.
Okay.
So our film is called Pig Village.
Now, Michael, when I told Joe, so what I've been doing is sending your picture to folks to let them know you're going to be on the show first to see what their first reaction is. For me, when I first think of you, for me, it's Chick Handle from 8 Men Out is one of my favorite roles. And it's funny what people, because you have such a magnificent career with such depth and breadth. So, Joe, what were the first movies that popped into your head?
JFK and Mississippi Burning. Because I think you're just a master in both of those roles. And they're so pivotal for the movie.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and they were both fantastic roles, and had great directors and a great cast, and I was given leeway and Mississippi Burning, and it was great. It was fun. It was some of those earlier movies like JFK and Mississippi Burning and Sea of Love. They were all like really well directed and put together back when movies were movies, where you'd be on location for like 3-4 months, 5, 6, 7 months. Nowadays you do a movie, you're lucky if you're on location for like 6 weeks. They do them so quick these days. It's amazing. I don't know how they get away with that. It's so, because making movies is just so exhausting and difficult. They got it down to a science. It's mind-boggling.
That is mind-boggling, and those movies are both historically important. So I think that's why they stuck out to me when I think about, because you as an actor has such a great range of movies. You've been in comedies, you've been in historic movies, you've been in Marvel action movies. I was telling Patty before the break that I did cry at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That the funeral scene got to me. So you have been in so many different things. If you had to pick one genre, what do you think was your favorite as an actor?
Well, first of all, let me ask you before we get into that. Why were you crying?
I'll tell you.
When they send him off,
when they send him off into space.
What happened? What in the movie happened that caused you to cry?
It was your arc of going from this, as an antagonist to being like this figure that we all were dearly going to miss. Go ahead.
Beautiful. It was beautifully done. It was so well orchestrated by James Gunn. I'm amazed when I think about it. I mean, my character in particular in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was just so well constructed, so well, might I say, so well played.
Yes, absolutely, it was.
But
you have to say it, man.
But it's all in the writing. Gunn wrote these scenes that just, you don't have to do much with them. You just have to be as honest as possible and do it. I had the biggest spontaneous outburst of laughter and the biggest spontaneous outburst of weeping in one movie, guys.
That is true.
So that's the writing and directing and orchestrating those scenes. I'm very blessed and lucky to have been in it. So,
I cut Joe off, so you go ahead and say why you were weeping.
Oh, well, no, I like this. The scene between you and Chris Pratt was so well acted, and I had lost my father a little bit before that, so I think that's why it was on my mind. But in the music, James Gunn, you give him great credit as a director and a writer, rightfully so. But I don't know how much of the music they put together for those movies really carries it too in a lot of ways. I mean, the acting and the writing is better, but the score and the songs he chooses really complements everything, and it brings out the emotions, whether it's laughter or sadness. I have both of the records on vinyl from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2. Worth it, everyone.
That's all Gunn.
Wow, he's amazing.
Him and his brothers had a rock band back in the day before they were actors and directors and all that stuff. And he knows his music. He knows his stuff. So he picks very intricate and very precise songs and stuff. So he's really good at that stuff. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We are on the line with Michael Rooker, which is such a fun thing for me to say. He's currently in South Korea filming a movie called Pig Village. We've got a lot to catch up with him on. Can you hang on for a break here so we can continue our conversation? It's live radio. I know everyone's doing podcasts these days, but I gotta pay some bills so we can keep talking. Does that sound okay?
I'm good with that, yeah.
Excellent. Again, we'll talk to Michael Rooker when we come back. Comedian Joe Kilgallen in studio with me. He'll be at CG's in Bolingbrook on Friday and Saturday. And we'll get more conversation after this.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
You ever find yourself needing a hit of dopamine? Maybe in the mid-afternoon, after a long day of work, when you finally get your kids to sleep, maybe? Dopamine is known as the feel-good hormone. It plays a role in motivation, executive function, movement, emotional regulation. We all need a bit from time to time, but when you're flat out, it can be hard to know what to do in the moment. That's where a dopamine menu comes in. I recently learned about this from clinical social worker Eric Tivers, who came on my podcast, Chasing Life. The Dopa Menu is kind of a creative project meets a list of strategies to use, he said. It works by making a list of things you know are going to make you feel good, and then making sure that you have that list handy when you feel down or lost. This is something that you should be doing instead of doom scrolling. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
I hope this is a fun drive home for you because I'm having a blast. We're in studio with comedian Joe Kilgallen. He's appearing at the CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook this Friday and Saturday. Check out his YouTube channel and listen to some of his podcasts. Joining us on the line, which I love saying this, is actor Michael Rooker, who is currently in South Korea filming the movie Pig Village. Again, thank you for joining us. I was just telling Joe off the air, the reason I reconnected with you after all these years, I last had you on another radio station with me, was I sent you a link to a social media post about the psychologists looking at hundreds of hours of movies of actors portraying psychopaths, and you came in the top 3 for, I believe, one of your first movies, right?
It was my very first movie, and that I filmed right there in Chicago in my old neighborhood, and it was called Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And we did it a bunch of years ago. It was my first one, yeah.
I mean, so when you saw that, was I the first person that sent that to you? Was it your first? That these professionals poured over hours of all these psychos in movies, Christian Bale and Anthony Hopkins, and they came down to you, Javier Bardem in I can't even remember.
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men, and then an actor from the 1930s. I mean, that's pretty that's pretty wild, Michael.
I'm in good company, right? So,
you really are. So tell us about another film that just was announced that you're going to be working on. Tell us about this Call of Duty.
Oh, Call of Duty is a game.
I know. I'm sorry, game. Yeah.
Black Ops. Yeah, the Black Ops 2 I did years ago, and now we're doing Black Ops 7.
Oh, fantastic.
And so they're very excited, and I'm excited as well. I get to play, I get to reprise my role, and so I'm a happy camper, and we're in the middle of doing that. I'm going to be working on that real soon.
I have to imagine. My husband does this all the time, where he looks at someone's IMDb for like how many projects they've been on. How much like voiceover work have you been doing? Because I gotta imagine it's a lot.
No, not as much as I should be doing.
Yes.
I better talk to my agent. I got a very distinct voice, and I think I should be using it more. But you know what I'm doing, and I do the motion capture in the game as well. So the gaming is a whole different animal. It's very a lot of fun to do, but it's a lot of work, and it takes them. I'm working with Treyarch, and it takes them. They don't even put a time limit on it. Mm-hmm. They work on the game until it's done, until it's ready to be dropped and presented. And so you're working a bit, then you don't work, and then you come back. They say, okay, we're going to do this scene again, or we're going to do some more, and you go back, and so it's an ongoing process.
That must be a lot of balance between having to stay physical for those roles and also emotionally be available for the work that you're doing in films. It's a lot, and then also you're doing Peacemaker, which is then a serial, right? How many episodes of Peacemaker are they shooting?
I did the fourth and final season. And I think I start coming into the season around the 3rd or 4th episode, and so my characters are from their past, like there's flashback stuff going on, and I'm so
yep.
Gosh, I did about maybe 6 or 7 episodes, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that so many of your roles and so many of your projects, movies or television, you're always part of such an amazing cast. So, we don't want to keep up too much of your time, but I know we could probably ask, what was it like working with this cast? What was it like working with that cast? But Righteous Gemstones, I just started watching Righteous Gemstones about a couple months ago because everyone I know was telling me about it.
The craziest show. Is it so much fun, though?
It is so much fun.
I had so much fun.
So what was the working with that cast like? Because it is so much fun, and I imagine there's a lot of fun on set.
Well, you're a comedian, I mean, it's a great fun on set. I mean, we ad-libbed. Most jobs want you to do the script.
Yeah.
First, let's do the script, and then we can ad-lib. We can add stuff and take away stuff, and whatever happens. We literally started out that way, and then the director was like, "Well, this is all great. I love all this, but what do you guys say we actually do the script once?" And we were like, "Really? You want to go back there?" Sure, okay, we can do that. And so, yeah, it was an absolute blast. And I'm working with pros. I'm working with all these comedians, and they do this stuff all the time, right? And I don't have the luxury of doing a lot of ad-libbing and all that, but let me tell you, I grew up in Chicago. I moved to Chicago. We moved there when I was 13. And hanging out on the streets, you got to know how to ad-lib.
Yes,
okay?
Definitely.
And if you don't know how to ad-lib, you ain't going to survive. So I knew how to ad-lib from day one, and I think everyone was quite surprised that I held my own. Let's just put it that way.
Well, that's great because I know Danny McBride likes to work with a lot of the same actors, so I hope you end up in more of his future projects because that guy is brilliant.
I was already offered something else, but I was over. I'm working. I couldn't do it. I'm working. So.
Yeah, I would imagine you're constantly. I mean, I love again the sort of the variety of roles that you have. I mean, you do often play the guy that everyone really loves to hate, and sometimes we don't mind when your characters get whacked. I'm just saying, maybe it's.
You cry though.
He did.
I did cry.
No, I cried too.
I did.
You cried. Okay, you cried. Okay, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you an inside story.
Okay, please.
The scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm laying on the slab, and they're placing the medals on my chest, and they're doing all these beautiful speeches, and the shot is very serene and mournful, and within 10 seconds of action, you hear. I am dead asleep.
Oh my God.
You got too comfortable.
James Gunn, they're like stopping and they're looking at Gunn and he's going, he's shushing them. He's shushing them and saying, let him sleep. Let him sleep. See, that happens. Like, sometimes that happens. But we did about 7 takes. It happened every take.
Wow.
That was one comfortable slab you were laying on.
Yeah, really?
I have the ability to go to sleep. I have a friend that timed me one time, and I was able to sit. I could sleep sitting up. I could sleep standing up. I could sleep laying down. But I have the ability to fall asleep. I was timed, and it took me like a minute, 35 seconds, and I was snoring.
Wow. That's a superpower.
Well, no kidding. Well, you must have spent hours in the makeup chair, too. I mean, like, those are long, grueling days, I have to imagine.
Yeah. My first job with James Gunn was a job called Slither. And I play this human that becomes this alien creature because he's infected by the DNA. And that the makeup for that job once I'm the creature took 7.5 hours to do.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. Man.
I doing that makeup, there was a makeup artist whose job was just there to hold my ears so that I wouldn't lean forward and bob in the chair. Because I fall asleep. I fall asleep during the makeup. And how could you not? My call time was like 3 a.m. and I'm in the chair for 7 hours. Come on, So there you have it. So my superpower is I have the ability to sleep whenever I need to.
I like it from her point of view, going home and her husband being like, "What'd you do today?" I held Michael Rooker's ears for 7.5 hours.
I mean, that's a good resume.
So fun.
We are on the phone with Michael Rooker. Do you have time for one more segment? I'm going to get greedy here. We have to take a break here. Can I take?
You're so greedy. I love you. Not a problem.
All right, excellent. Because I just got a couple more texts from folks. So let me take a break here. We'll continue our conversation with Michael Rooker. You can follow him on Instagram. He's right now filming in South Korea on the film Pig Village. You can see him in the upcoming season of the Gemstones.
Righteous
Gemstones. You can, sorry, I have to watch this. There's too many shows to watch.
It's so good.
Already going, but you can still watch it.
Look, guys, you want to know what I'm catching up on? I haven't finished The Walking Dead. I've already seen, no spoilers, but I've also, someone just texted in, we were all rooting for Merle in The Walking Dead. I cried when he died. I did too. I'm just saying, again, another arc. Okay, let's take a break here. We'll continue our conversation with Michael Rooker, the one and only. He lived in Chicago, you guys. He was casting his first movie here. More after this on WCPT 820 Chicago, KKNW Seattle, and KTNF Minneapolis, St. Paul. Thank you for being here.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Isolated showers possible early tonight and then gradual clearing overnight. A low of 57 degrees with west winds at 10 to 20. Tuesday, sunny with a high temperature of 77 and west winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. On Wednesday, lots of sun with a high temperature of 88. Thursday, chance of thunderstorms. Cooler with a high temperature of 69 degrees. Friday, chance of storms, highs in the upper 60s. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 70.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
If you're purchasing a new home and working with Rocket Mortgage, listen very closely. Carly, 54, first-time home buyer, income 65 G's a year, contacted Rocket Mortgage for a mortgage. Rocket locked her into a 25-year fixed FHA loan at 6.125%, which sounds great until I reviewed Rocket's loan documents. Carly didn't know Rocket placed her into a 25-year fixed loan, not a 30-year fixed loan like she wanted. Carly also didn't know Rocket Mortgage charged her over $5,000 to lower her rate. I explained why I thought it wasn't in her financial best interest to buy down the rate, and that's why Team Hochberg, not Rocket Mortgage, will be helping Carly with her mortgage. Let's review. Rocket Mortgage placed Carly into a loan she didn't want and didn't understand why Rocket charged her to secure a lower rate. If you want to work with a lender you can trust, give us a call now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 112-4061.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Welcome back to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Well, thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. And joining us on the line, all the way from South Korea, filming the movie Pig Village, is Michael Rooker. Hey, Michael, again, thank you for your time and allowing me to be greedy with it. Joe was like, I'll sit back. You know what? I don't want to jump in, but we're both Chicago kids. Joe and I grew up here, and hearing you talk about how you needed to know how to improvise living in Chicago. You went to Lane Tech. You're a fellow alum, right?
I went there for a minute, and then then we moved to my what I consider my old neighborhood, Division and Ashland, around that area. I went to Wells High School. I graduated from Wells High School. So when we first moved into Chicago, I was there, but then I graduated from Wells.
Now, the good news, Michael, there's a Popeye's Chicken right at the corner of Division in Wells now. They just opened it not that long ago. It's pretty good.
Not for nothing, as we say around here.
And I love chicken. So.
There you go. Well, and I've been pestering you for the last few years about our all years lifeguard reunion for North Avenue, and I messaged you last week. I was like, I believe that every guard of the year has an obligation to show up at least once. You only guarded for a year and were named guard of the year, and all your fellow lifeguards remember that. So tell us a little about guarding. Do you remember those days and the training? And
you know what? I do. I really do. I was a guard at a pool in my neighborhood, so I got to be well known in my neighborhood. I was a guard there, and then I decided I want to go to the beach, and I'm going to guard at the beach. And so I went to I was a guard at North Avenue Beach, the center of the universe. Just
yes!
so you know.
Well done.
And it was my first year, and I was not the best swimmer as a lifeguard, but I think I was the best guard, only because I think I just have this ability to see things as they're happening or right before they're going to happen, and as a lifeguard, that's great. That way you got to jump on it, and you're not waiting until the person goes down. You can see it right. You can see the trouble starting to that's not going to be good, and you're ready to go. That kind of thing.
Well, and I know you mentioned in a text to me that you'll talk about some stuff, but you're also writing a book, and I hope that you'll include a story about working at North Avenue, because there is a book. I actually tried shopping for a while. Do you remember Joe Pecoraro, the head of the lifeguard service?
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
Yeah, he was the head of the lifeguard service until the late 90s, I think, maybe even the aughts. Wow. And he wrote a book called Naked Rescue that I have to get you a copy of. I think you'd appreciate it. But it's a great book about the history of the lifeguard service in Chicago. So if you do come to our reunion, I'll make sure you have a copy of that. And
I plan on coming. I plan on coming.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to be at a convention in Virginia, and I'm going to leave Sunday early. I'm going to leave Sunday late morning and fly to Chicago. And the gathering is until like 7:38 in the evening, so I'll be able to make it. I think I'm going to be able to make it.
You're going to make me a rock star if you show. I'm going to look like a hero. Because by the way, Michael Rooker came into the former radio station I was at. A friend of mine So the guy who's arranging this reunion is my ex-boyfriend. We're still friends. He worked for the Cook County Sheriff's Department for over 20 years. He just retired, and but Michael came in and took photos with my friend George Valeceres' kids, and you're super sweet and you're so generous to your fans. I love that you go to the Comic-Cons and you remain available to fans. What sort of? I mean, a lot of folks don't have anything to do with that, right? They think it's corny. And tell us a little bit about those experiences.
No. I think I find it really exhilarating and a lot of fun. I've always been able to. I'm a common guy. I'm just a regular guy. I talk to people on the street. If somebody hollers at me and they need a photo, they want a photo or a signature, I'm all for that, because we're never going to see each other again. I mean, you've seen something that I like. I'm gonna, dude, come here, let's take the photo, whatever. And so I'm kind of like that, and that's what going to the conventions is sort of all about. You get to go and meet and have fun and sign autographs and take photos with your biggest fans. And every one of them is your biggest fan. And I think it's beautiful. I'm going to be in Chicago really soon for a Mallrats reunion.
Oh my God!
Mallrats reunion, and we're gonna do. I'll be out there near the airport, and we're gonna do a convention there, and it's gonna be June, July, August. I think it's May and August. Anyway, you can look out. It's called Chronicon.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
Don't ask me how they come up with those names, but that's what it's called, and I'll be there this in a few months, actually.
Oh my God. Okay, this is not even pertinent or necessary for this conversation, but I love the movie Mallrats for many reasons. First, the movie itself, and then I maybe had my wisdom teeth out and was on a lot of codeine, and it was the best movie to watch on codeine in college, is all I'm saying.
It's so much fun.
It really
is. So
is.
much fun.
It's delicious.
You know, I remember everybody knew how to skateboard. I didn't know how to skateboard. Everyone knew how to skateboard, and they said, "Come on, try it." So I tried it, and I don't like it that much. I can't do it, you know. And they said they taught me this little flip where you flip the skateboard and land on it. And the guy let me have his skateboard. And you try it on mine. And so I flipped it and I landed on it, and it cracked right in two.
Oh wow!
And I saw his heart break. You know, it was so sad. I didn't really mean to, and I wasn't that heavy. I was just like, I'm not very light on my feet, so when I jump and I land, I land, you know. And so fun memories from that movie, and we're going to have our 30-year reunion. So
that's great.
Yeah, come on out, everybody.
I'm on your team, Michael. You could break a skateboard very easily. When I was about 16 years old, I had a summer job working in the Loop, and there was a Toys R Us on State Street, and I went into it during my lunch break, and I broke a skateboard trying to do a trick.
In the store?
In the store, and I responded in the store. I ran out of the store, though. They never caught me. I freaked out. I didn't know what to do.
If you break it, you bought it. Hey. Is that real still?
Toy Store.
I didn't hang out long enough to find out.
They went bankrupt, and it's all your fault.
It's my fault, that one skateboard from 2004.
Now we know. Now we know whose fault it is. By the way, that Chronic Con, Joey Lauren Adams, her social media says it's going to be October 10th through the 12th, right here, as Michael mentioned, in Chicago. It's Chronic Con by Kevin Smith. He's presenting that, so that's amazing. Oh, I'm so excited! Right. So excited for that.
Right. So we're all going to get together, and we haven't. A lot of us haven't seen each other practically for 30 years, you know. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast, you know. Hopefully all the fans will come out and enjoy everything that happens.
I love that you wanted to connect with the fans. I was just thinking in my mind, like the two guys that I've run into that are kind of scary in the movies, and then when you meet them, they're like just the sweetest guys. And then I'm like, were they ever in a movie together? So it's Michael Rooker and Robert Patrick. You guys made a movie called Angry.
Robert Patrick.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah, Robert Patrick and I did a movie together. Yeah, we did a movie over in Cleveland together. It's called Rogue Force. He played a SWAT leader, and I played the leader of an HRT, the hostage rescue team. Yeah. And they're arresting and shooting people. His team are going in, making entries, and shooting all the criminals without due process. And so apparently the FBI didn't like that. So we come in to try to stop him, and so it's a great little movie, man. We have a great big old shoodown at the end, and it's like nice action.
I might watch that one tonight because I've been in an action kick, and I think I'm gonna get my fill on Rogue Force.
And Due Process has been in the news, so
yes, yeah, it really has. And I didn't time this out very well because we've been talking about some of these great roles that you're in, and I know that you had posted about working with Gene Hackman, who was absolutely extraordinary, and I want to say thank you for I just want to thank you for the kind thoughts that you shared about him as well.
Well, thank you. You know what? How long have we known each other now? So
over a decade. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you've been trying to get me to come to the reunion for that long. I don't know. I'm finally going to get the opportunity to come in and enjoy and see folks that I haven't seen since North Avenue.
Yeah.
Beach. North Avenue Beach.
I love that. I love that. And folks, stay tuned for all the great work that Michael Rooker continues to do. And also, someone wanted to thank you for the work you did on Tombstone. They loved you in that as well.
Tombstone. I've been riding horses and shooting pistols ever since.
Another great cast.
Well, enjoy your day. I know it's just starting out for you. Safe travels, my friend. Thank you for being so generous with your time, your stories, and above all, the wonderful, talented work that you've. I mean, just the breadth of work that you've shared with audiences all this time, and continue to do so. We look forward to every part of your journey.
I'm very happy to do this, and thank you. I'm glad we've gotten back together and for the reunion, and also for your show. I did your show once before. I had a lot of fun doing it, and thank you for inviting me again.
Absolutely.
And, hello, everyone from out at my home. I still have a house there, so.
Oh,
that's great.
There you go. Excellent. You should put that on Airbnb. Stay at Michael Rooker's house.
Yeah, right.
Right? Too funny.
It's even my favorite. It's pretty good. Devon and Broadway up near Loyola. And,
yeah,
that's a nice area. Yeah.
That is a nice area. Now I know where you hang out when you're in town.
Near Evanston. Well, thank you so much, Michael. It was great talking to you. It was a pleasure.
You bet, guys. I'm sorry I'm not going to be there to see your show, my man. So,
next time.
Maybe another time.
Oh, you would love Joe. I guarantee it. Thank you so much, Mr. Rooker. Michael,
pleasure.
At the last minute, I went to Mr. Rooker. Thank you.
You called me. You called me Miss.
I know.
Rooker.
I don't know what happened at the end there. Got weird. I made it weird. It's my skill set.
Maybe if you put a yo on the front of it. Yo, Mr. Rooker.
Yo, Mr. Rooker.
Yo, hey, Mr. Rooker. What's up?
That's it. Now we need to cast him as a teacher. That's what we need. Is thank you so much.
Oh, Mr. Carter.
Mr. Rooker sounds like the guy that would slap you upside the head for getting wise.
It's true.
You know?
Of course.
Hey, he went through CPS.
You got to know how to buck up to these guys these days. You got to know how to slap them, smack them upside the head.
Oh, boy.
And
I agree.
And why not? It's good. It's a good lesson.
There you go.
Don't mess with your teacher.
There you go. Thick skin. My sisters are teachers. They'll appreciate what you just said.
There you go. Safe travels, Michael. God. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great talk, guys.
Absolutely.
Great talk.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye. Let's I know they've been folks on hold, though. Thank you very much for your patience. That was fantastic. How exciting is that?
What a great human being. What a great guy.
Yeah.
Good mindset. I like how he talked about talking to fans and, I'll take a picture with you, sign something because it's a nice little exchange. It's, it makes people's day. And, what a really cool guy.
Absolutely. Let's take a break here and we'll wrap up in a moment on WCPT 820, KKNW 1150, and KTNF AM 950.
Amy Goodman reports on the news stories rarely covered by the corporate media. Democracy Now!
The UN's Humanitarian Affairs Office warned Palestinian children are at high risk of injury or death from unexploded ordnance left after more than 13 months of Israeli attacks. 8-year-old Mohammed Karmash, this is his mother.
No one was there to tell him that these are explosives that the Israelis throw.
Democracy Now! Weekday evenings at 10 on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
A tree can be a warrior, battling global challenges with greater courage. A tree can be a solution, cleaning our air, supporting our communities, and protecting our wildlife. A tree can be noble, growing hope in every corner of the world. That's why now is the time for trees. Millions of trees. Join our planting movement at arborday.org.
Is credit card or other debt making it difficult to pay your rent or mortgage? Home insecurity is often the unintended consequence of an inability to pay mounting credit card debt, student loans, or medical debt. But by working with a nonprofit credit counselor, you can avoid or reduce the risk of eviction or foreclosure while tackling debt for good. For more information about how nonprofit credit counseling can help, visit nfcc.org. Made possible in part by the nonprofit Wells Fargo Foundation.
When I first had my baby, I'd get comments all the time about how happy I must be. I remember thinking, I want to be happy. Why don't I feel that way? It was hard to admit that, even to my doctor. But I'm glad I did. She told me it was postpartum depression, and that is very treatable. These days, things are feeling good, and we're both happier about that. Right, little man? I'll take that as a yes.
Mental health care is working for Simone. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
I got to say, I don't have time to wait for that bump music, Joe. I want to say that was so much fun. Wasn't that cool?
That was amazing. It was such a good time.
Every once in a while, like I forget that I have some folks in my Rolodex. Like when I was at the other radio station, my producers would be like, "What do you mean you have Louis Black's number in your phone? What do you mean you?" Like I had Judy Tenuta, who I actually talked to. Like I had never met her, but someone gave me her number and they got permission for me to call her on the air, which was amazing. Yeah, so I just
super cool.
I've been around long enough to meet people, I guess is what it is.
Yeah,
we obviously took a pause from politics. Michael Rooker came out in defense of James Gunn when he was going through this controversy. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, and actually put a really eloquent letter about how it was a learning moment for people to understand how social media can have an impact and how we see each other and stuff like that. But I also didn't want to drag him into all the politics, although he did laugh at the due process. I actually haven't seen a lot of people in Los Angeles. The folks have been calling out celebrities for not being more, visible when it comes to the protests. But there's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot going on right now. I don't know if it's it's scary times.
Going on right now.
It's scary times. By the way, so speaking of those protests, Garrick. First of all, Garrick in South Elgin, thank you for coming out to Pride at the Elgin Pride Fest. It was great to see you.
Likewise, Patty. Good time, and my only regret was I didn't take a selfie with you.
Oh, I'll have to post that online. Thank you for the reminder, because a lot's happened, and it was so great to meet you and your wife, and thank you for being so patient on hold as well, because I know you were on hold for over an hour there. Thank you.
Briefly, I know you probably have other callers. I just want to remind everybody that about 5-6 years ago during Trump's term, he defunded the immigration judges, which created such a backlog for Biden when he took office. So, once again, Trump creates chaos, and now he's acting like he's going to be the hero here. And what he did back in his first term was just absolutely disgusting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. I'm glad you brought that up, Garrick. I was talking about something similar with a friend. The way Trump always tries to, he'll destroy something, and then if there's even a marginal little tiny improvement to it, he takes all the credit in the world like he's some genius. It kind of reminds me of like in baseball when the closer blows the save. So the closer will give up a couple runs, and the game's tied, but then his team scores a run in the next inning, and he gets the win. Why are you getting the win? You didn't do anything to win that game.
When you gave a couple 2-3 runs.
Yeah, so Trump does a lot of things like that where it's you destroyed it, it's still bad, and even if you're throwing another dollar one way or another, you didn't really fix it. But that's part of his brand. Trump is all about the brand thing. His cult thinks he's a winner. So that's why he could never concede a loss. That's why he didn't do a concession speech, because it would hurt what that lie of an image is, that he's some winner who always wins. And we'll be doing so much winning. We'll be tired of the winning. I'm just tired of looking at his face at this point, how he's destroying so much of the things I loved about this country at one time.
Oh, my God.
I hear you.
I
hear you. I can't stand listening to him. But anyway, Patty, we'll talk again. And,
yes.
It's scary times right now in L.A. when the military starts coming into our communities. I don't know what's next for us as Americans. But,
I agree.
Stay hydrated, Garrick. We appreciate the call.
Stay hydrated. Thanks, Garrick.
Yeah, It's long past 5 o'clock. I've been doing it.
Nice.
Take care. All right, be well. We've only got about a couple minutes here to wrap up, but there's so much we didn't even cover. Although I will say, anytime President Biden would stutter or trip, man, Fox would play that on repeat. And so they don't seem to have any problem with Trump falling up the stairs on Air Force One, but so be it, I guess.
She's done it a few times.
Couple, 2, 3.
And I don't know why MSNBC or whatever, there really isn't a good opposition network. That's the problem. That's why it has to be to people like you and I, Patty. But Trump is clearly wearing a diaper. But the thing is,
I can smell him when he's on camera. Go ahead.
We are kind enough where we don't want to trash everyone who has to wear that. There's a lot of good people who need
That's
it.
fair. Yeah.
Okay, Depends. There's a big market out there. If you're listening and you wear it, that's totally fine. We're only going to make fun of the people who wear them and want to destroy a nation.
Yeah, I think that's a yes.
That's fair.
If you're wearing a diaper and you want to destroy the nation, that's where we amplify the fact that you are wearing said diaper.
Yeah, if you're not, then we'll be nice.
No harm, no foul.
Exactly. We love you.
Joe is going to be at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook this Friday and Saturday. Are you traveling this summer for either work or pleasure?
No plans in the near future. I'm sure some gigs will pop up out of town. I had a little out of town run in May. I was out of town a few weekends doing some shows around the Midwest. I like to stay Midwest. I was in Arizona in March. But nothing on the books immediately. I usually go back on the road in the fall. I try to stay here in the summer because it's summer in Chicago.
I mean, it's amazing. I'm actually going to New Orleans at the end of this month for the 5th time in a year.
That's a great city, though.
I'm a little addicted. I'm going to be honest. It's where I decided when Trump won again that I was going to have to find a way to pace myself, and it's New Orleans. I don't know if it's a good way to pace myself, but neither here nor there. It's going to be stupid hot is the only thing. I was thinking their summer is like our winter to them. You can't do anything. You're miserable. I mean, it's not the same, but sort of the debilitating part of it where it's not enjoyable.
I've been in New Orleans once, and it was in July. It was quite hot.
Yeah. I was there in May a couple of weeks ago, and it was gruesome. I was like, I'm going to deflate. Yes, it's very sticky. What other, before we've got about a minute and a half, is there any, let's see, because we've kind of covered the possible martial law, the looming fascism and authoritarianism that's coming our way. Anything else catch your attention, or is that, for me, it seems a little bit all I can think about now?
Well, I understand that. It'd be weird not to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell people, I don't want to tell people, hey, just be positive, because there's such a thing as just annoying people by being that person. But I definitely think by being with like-minded people and being with a community that supports the things you believe in, then that will make you feel healthier and will give you some sort of encouragement and belief in the future.
I love it.
So I think that's the advice there is find people who are in it with you and be with them.
I appreciate it. And I agree. You mentioned this earlier that we have to tell you stories just like all the hosts here throughout the day. And I want to give you a heads up on tomorrow's show for Richard Chu. He'll be talking to Bravetta Hassel, the Director of Communications for Advance Illinois, and 80s Wick, who's Climate Cabinet's Illinois State Lead. We also have, of course, that's from 6 to 8 a.m. And on Jonas Posito, she's going to be talking to Nina Burley, who's a great journalist covering a lot of important stories. That's live, amongst other good conversations. Live, local, and progressive, of course, is from 2 to 5 p.m. I want to thank our sponsor of the phone and text line. Credo Mobile phone and text line is sponsored by, it's sponsored by Credo Mobile. Go to credomobile.com, a progressive phone company that's better for all people on the planet. And again, do you know the website for it? It's just, we'll find CG's.
I think it's just cgscomedyclub.com or cgscomedy.com, or you could go to joekilgallen.com and the ticket link is right there. Go to my website where you could watch my one of my latest specials, and you could sign up for my email list, all at joekilgallen.com.
Excellent. And you have your podcast available there as well.
Yes, my podcast. Well, it's not on there, but it's available everywhere else. It's called Let's Get Dumb. It's with myself and comedian Jonah Jerkins. And that is the podcast where if you want a break from all the troubles of the world, you listen to two dopes discussing Tom Cruise's best movies, or we've had top 5 fast food restaurants. Excellent. We've had a lot of goofy things on that.
Excellent. So. Thank you so much, Joe. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Best to your family. Thank you so much to Paul Shivari. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
The Sports Cubicle. Commissioner of the American Association of Professional Baseball, Joshua Schaub.
So our players are not playing to develop to make it to the major leagues. They play for the name on the front of their jersey. They play for each other and they play to win. So the style of baseball is completely different. They're literally trying to get guys out. They're literally trying to move runners over. They're trying to win the game. So I just want to note that difference as well.
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com.